So this week on Talk On to Walk On, we have Patrick back, and we were going to discuss our summer. And when we got chatting, we realised that there'd been quite a few anniversaries. We thought, okay, this is good, this is positive, we'll include that. But the reality of it is that we did have a few anniversaries, and for me, that brought up some anxiety. But for Patrick, it brought up, he thinks of it as an opportunity to reflect. And we do try and do that, don't we, Patrick? We try and reflect on all the good stuff that's happened in the last 2 or 3 months. So the question for us today on Talk On to Walk On is, what do anniversaries mean to you? Do they give you an opportunity to think about all your achievements, or do they trigger some anxiety within you?
Yeah, I see anniversaries as, generally, I see them as times where you think of achievements you've had, and you're looking forward. It might be a work anniversary, it'll be a wedding anniversary, or you might be saying, in 3 months' time, I will have been doing this for 5 years or 10 years. So I try to think of it positively, but of course, with your mum, my mum, anniversaries can be sad occasions, and that brings on anxiety for you.
Yeah.
It brings on a different type of emotion. It brings on sadness and reflection and that sort of thing for me. But they're both emotions, aren't they?
Yeah. But before we come to the personal stuff for us, which we're going to try and get into, we're going to try and be a bit more vulnerable than we normally are, because we need to walk the talk, don't we? What do anniversaries mean? What do you think of when you think of anniversary?
I think people think of weddings and they think of work anniversaries.
So personal and professional.
Yes. Yeah. Amongst young people as well, it can even be, we've been dating for a month now,
yes.
Or we've been dating for a year now. So everything's squashed into. So they have young people have their own forms of anniversaries, but they don't stretch into years necessarily.
I mean, society tends to attach achievement to dates. I think we're all guilty of, I've been doing our podcast for 4 years, but I've been in business for 20 years. I've been married for 35 years, 2 years, 1 year, and everyone goes, everyone, you get a round of applause for it, don't you? And that is a good thing, because we all want positive. We all need a little bit of applause now and again. But it also, the reality of it is marriage is hard, business is hard, relationships are hard, doing a podcast, being consistent is hard. And so should we be talking more about the hard, or should we just be talking about the date and I've achieved and please all clap me?
Well, if we talk about wedding anniversaries for a start, marriage is hard, as we know.
Yeah.
We know that from experience. Marriage is hard. We're both on our second marriages. And it's funny the way that, in your first anniversary, it's cotton, or I'm probably going to be wrong, and then it goes up to wood and metal. And as the years go on, the wedding anniversary becomes more valuable to rubies and diamonds and gold and silver.
We're not going to get there, so you better...
No, I'm just saying that's a reflection on the fact that it's hard and you're being rewarded.
Yeah, that's true.
You're being rewarded
that's society.
Yeah, the longer that you stick at it.
I know. But actually, it doesn't matter, does it? Whether it could be 2 months, 1 month, 3 months, 10 seconds. You can still achieve something in a short space of time, but we tend to stick years on everything, and the bigger the number, the bigger the achievement.
Yes.
And I do get that, but I do think we massively overthink it. And if you haven't got that big number, I mean, I always laugh about, I'm guilty of it too. I go, 6 years married, and I joke because we look older. We look like we should be married for longer.
What you mean? We look like it.
And feel like it. But actually, and I go, I'm a bit embarrassed when I put it. It's funny, and because I think, because a lot of our friends and family members have been married for a long time, and what triggered this again was that this year would have been my 25th wedding anniversary, but that actually makes me feel really old.
And it would have been my 32nd wedding anniversary.
I mean, yeah.
But in a way,
But
you know
then
what?
that's like, way! But we didn't quite
But it's meaning
make it, did we?
exactly. It's
so
meaning.
Does that mean we're a bit crap?
It's meaningless. Why are we still counting? Why are we still counting? Because it is in a way meaningless. It's what could have been, or should have been, or would have been.
Yeah. I know.
So we can ditch that.
But
we'll carry on thinking that way.
But it did play on my mind. And what is that because society tells me to do that? And I think, and then you instinctively get into this comparison culture, don't you, with anniversaries and numbers and sharing sharing it, and then you think, well, is it a failing that we are not married for 32 years and 25 years respectively, or is it an achievement that we've been married for 6?
Yeah. Well, when we have our wedding anniversaries, it's a time for celebration, isn't it? We're celebrating our marriage and how long we've been married for. Okay, for our. But both of us think back to our first marriages, and as you say, how many years would I have been married? And that's with. I think we can look back on that with sadness. Because as you've said, what is it you've said before? Nobody gets married to get divorced.
Yeah.
No, when you get married, the intention is to do it for life. So we look back on it tinged with a bit of sadness that relationship broke down.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that with our current marriage, we will then celebrate our wedding anniversaries now, even if 6 is a bit piddly compared to 25.
So you're comparing it. So you're doing it now. But I think with us, we do, I don't even know what we did this year. I can't even remember. So we didn't actually celebrate. I think we were just busy, but we acknowledged it. And most people do that, don't they? But I think with us, we do acknowledge it a bit more because it's our second go. And we are actually much more appreciative this time round. Do you think?
We are, yes, and I think we're more intentional, aren't we? We think we think about it more.
Yeah,
it is second time round where we want to get it right. We think about every single year is a year of celebration. Yeah. So I think that it's funny you should say you can't remember what we did this year. Is that what you just said?
Yeah,
you couldn't remember.
I can't
well,
remember.
In preparation for this, I couldn't remember either, even though it was less than a month ago.
Oh my God. Was it?
So I actually looked in the diary and reminded myself why...
We have a written diary. We're very old-fashioned
why
like that. Everything's written
we
down.
didn't necessarily celebrate. It's because we were just so busy.
Yeah.
We were just so busy. We had Hannah and Tom coming back from not a long holiday, but being abroad, coming back from holiday the day before. We had a Liverpool match on the day of our anniversary. We had
always takes priority.
we had somebody else's wedding to attend the day after our anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
And then you had your your cousin.
Oh, yeah.
Visiting from California 2 days after. So when we looked at that and thought, maybe it's a bit too much to make a big thing of.
And we were celebrating their anniversary because they'd been married 25 years because they got married the same year that I did originally. Yeah. And I'm not going to go on about that now. I'm going to drop that topic.
Okay. So we didn't really forget our anniversary. We made a sort of a conscious effort to, a conscious decision not to do something because we were just so busy doing other, nice things. But apparently I was looking up that 82% of people claim to have forgotten an anniversary at some stage during their life. But worryingly, 68% said, not of the 82, but 68% of people said that they'd be willing to split up with their partner, either temporarily or permanently, if their partner forgot an anniversary. Oh. Yeah, that's a bit serious, isn't it?
I wouldn't be very happy if you forgot your anniversary. It's like it's the equivalent of a birthday, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, we've done our podcast about Valentine's Day, and we had a bit of a debate on that, and you weren't interested in Valentine's Day.
Well, you produced a card in the middle of the podcast.
So if you I did.
Thanks.
And I was a bit, pardon my language, pissed off that you didn't acknowledge Valentine's Day.
I'm sorry.
But I think I don't think we'd divorce, but I wouldn't be very happy at all if you didn't acknowledge
Have you ever forgotten an anniversary?
Well, when you say an anniversary, you're talking wedding anniversary?
Any type? No.
I think I'm
You're good
very
with
dates driven.
Yeah.
I'm rubbish at remembering what day it is. But in terms of anniversaries, and especially emotional ones, I probably wish I didn't remember so many emotional anniversaries, but I do. And that's where we potentially could come on to the conversation around anxiety, because I do get impacted with memories, and dates very much trigger a feeling of anxiousness in relation to particular anniversaries. And I think that's very common for a lot of people. I think, I mean, I know, again, you're slightly different because we deal with things very differently. But I do think it is common that anniversaries trigger some sadness. We've talked about comparison. We've said about it in a jokey way, but it can make people feel like they haven't achieved something by a certain date. For example, young people, by the time you're 20 or by the time you're 30, you need to have done this, this, and this, be married and kids and, mortgage and all these societal milestones that they put pressure on you. But the other point is obviously the reality of life is that there is also death, or sad things that happen, and those, certainly with my close family, those dates are etched, definitely very much in my mind.
Yes, I mean my mother, my mum died over 30 years ago, and when she was very young, when she was in fact about my age, not much older than me now, and my brothers and my sister, the four of us, we still exchange. It used to be words, nice. And now we might exchange an emoji, just a tear, just a single tear on the 16th of March every year, just to almost as a little signal that we remember.
Did you find that earlier on it was harder?
Yes.
Than it is now.
Yes.
As passing of time. I mean, time, they say, is never. Is it a healer? I think that's a whole different topic. It's very different for different people, and I'm very conscious of that. We're just talking about our own experiences. But for me, do you find that those early years are much more raw and much more difficult?
Yes, definitely they were. And of course, when you memories are kept alive through talking to people, looking at photographs, looking at videos, and so on. I don't have any videos of my mum. My siblings live very remotely from where I live. So over the years, the memory hasn't been kept alive as much as it might with other people who are living closer together and so on, and particularly now in this day and age where you do have so much more stuff to remember people by. Yeah. So over the years, the memory, the sadness still remains. Because again, talking about anniversaries, I always remember think about, well, I'm nearly 60. My mum died when she was 60, and I remember back to things that she was doing at the age that I am now, and it gives me a slightly odd feeling, but sadness as well. But the vividness, time isn't a healer, but the vividness of those memories dulls over time.
You don't want them to dull, though, do you?
No, you don't. But
I hate it when I can't remember something about my mum.
What's the expression you use? You use an expression.
Talk them alive.
Talk them alive, yeah. And you're very good at that. And you need the opportunity to talk about them a lot, to keep them alive, yes. Keep those memories
But like
kindled.
you say, because your siblings aren't here, my brother isn't here either.
Yeah.
So we talk to each other.
We talk about our mums a lot, actually,
yeah,
don't
we?
We
do. But I've got Hannah living with us, haven't we? And obviously Hannah knew my mum till she was 12, very much a big part of her life. So we were just honing in on mums as an example, because I suppose that's had the biggest impact on us personally. But yeah, it's talking them alive has come up a lot lately, because again, I have had, as everybody knows I've had counselling. I still have some counselling. And one of the big things for me was, am I cracking up because I feel like I'm talking to my mum all the time? I'm talking about my mum all the time. Am I boring people about my mum? And this phrase, talking them alive, validated that. And they're like, it's okay. People pass on, but okay, you can say spirit, soul, whatever, their presence, their legacy stays alive, and that it'll stay alive even more the more you talk about them. And it's okay to do that if that helps you cope, if that helps you accept that it's a natural part of life is death. And that, yes, they're not physically present anymore, but actually the memories are still vivid and strong. So, but coming back to the anniversary point, and the anxiety, certainly for me, as you know, we met a few months after my mum passed away. I always say that she sent you to me because she told me my life was going to change not long before she passed away, very suddenly and unexpectedly. But along comes Patrick a few months later when I'm probably at my lowest, and very early on in our relationship was my mum's first anniversary, and you did witness what was a panic anxiety attack, of which I have had a few over the years, more than a few, but I think that was a particularly bad one because it was the first year and I wasn't at home, I was away. So
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Because they talk about grief anniversaries reopening wounds, and that was very raw for you still.
Yeah.
It was very, very raw, and that's why it was such a emotionally traumatic thing that you went through on that, for close to that first anniversary.
Yeah. I think it was part of it. I mean, again, everybody goes through this without going into lots of detail. I wasn't there. And I think that's a big thing. It wasn't just losing my mum. It was losing my mum, who I saw pretty much every day. But I wasn't there when it happened.
Yes.
And that, I think, and then I was away again. I had this thing about booking flights and taking off with Hannah. And the first Christmas we went to Florence and Paris. We just took off and spent some time with family abroad. And then the first anniversary, again, I was away. I think I just didn't want to face it here. And probably here was probably the best place for me to have been. Thinking about it when I look back now, but my go-to was distraction. And they say that when anxiety rises, you instead of dealing with it, because it is a normal human emotion. Now, we're not talking clinical depression here or clinical anxiety. We're talking normal human emotion that you feel when you feel sad or out of your comfort zone, whatever it is. We're talking about being anxious.
Yes, but trying to deal with it rather than pushing it away.
Yeah, I didn't deal with my anxiety for a very long time until I got my counsellor during lockdown, because I thought distraction was just the answer to everything. But coming back to anniversaries, they very much, the dates, I think sometimes there's a term, body keeps the score, and sometimes my body, it knows in advance when these dates are coming up. Which is a whole other topic, which we probably could do with an expert on, but we're just talking about our own experiences, aren't we?
Yes. But I think we both feel quite strongly that using anniversaries to keep memories alive of individuals is a very, very good and powerful thing to do. And I think it's a very human thing to do as well.
It feels like it gives you permission to talk about, you say talk them alive. I do it every day. I talk to my mum in my own head, but there's an anniversary, there's a reason to talk about them. It makes you feel like, I've got permission today to actually just talk about my mum. You've got permission today to talk about your mum. And then invariably we end up talking about our mums.
Yes.
So again, this is a positive thing from anxiety and triggers. Gives you an opportunity to open up and be vulnerable and bring you closer together with those who you can do that with, if that makes sense.
Yes.
We've definitely become closer over the years when we talk about our mums. We have moments where it brings smiles, doesn't it?
It does, because the more we talk about them, the more we realise how much they had in common and how much they would have got on if they'd met each other.
Yeah.
We're constantly finding things that are in common between the two.
Yes. Yeah. So just to give a bit of context, your mum, you said your mum passed away when she was 60. So you were only, what, 25, 26?
Yes, 26.
And my mum passed away 10 years ago, which is why I don't think I said that at the beginning. It was a big one this year because 10 years feels like nothing. And again, it's just a number.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, I'm no longer having anxiety and panic attack around the, birthdays and whatever, but, it doesn't make it any less of a feeling. So,
Absolutely.
and it's something that we need to learn to embrace and open up and say how you're feeling. Use it as an opportunity. So they're coming back to anniversary. Use it in if it's a feeling that you think I don't want to deal with it. Don't bury it.
Yes.
It would be my advice. I mean, again, everybody deals with things differently, but the one thing I've learned is don't necessarily distract yourself, even though it's instinctive to do that. Don't necessarily bury it. Use it as an opportunity to acknowledge how you're feeling, share how you're feeling with those who are closest to you.
Embrace it. Don't run away and try to hide it.
Yes.
Accept it in a way. But one thing I heard recently that I still grapple with is this idea that just let it go or move on. I think that's quite a heartless thing for people to either say or think.
People still say that. I think we've got a lot more knowledgeable.
I think sometimes people say it in a well-meaning way, but for the individual who's suffering anxiety or grief, I don't think that's helpful for somebody to be saying, just put it in the back of your mind and move on. That was X number of years ago.
Well, they're just clearly the wrong person to talk to, aren't they?
Yeah.
So again, another message in that is to open up to those who you know will listen with empathy. Yeah, and see it as an opportunity to build your relationship with them and get something positive out of what is sad.
Yeah.
Because when you open up and you're vulnerable, as I've learned much later in life, it brings you closer.
Yes, it does. The other anniversaries that have become more celebrated or noted as a result of social media are work anniversaries.
Oh God!
So I think of wedding anniversaries, and now,
LinkedIn.
unfortunately, I do. I think of work anniversaries, and LinkedIn in particular.
that gives me anxiety.
I don't know if whether I should be celebrating this, but I get all sorts of messages from people saying, well, they say congrats, which is a very lazy way, because in LinkedIn you just press a button and it just says congrats on your work anniversary from people that I haven't spoken to for years and years and years. And that's all they say, congrats on your work anniversary.
But you love that as a grammar snob.
Congrats.
Congrats.
That's just I've got to accept that. People don't have time to write bespoke messages each time and so on. But I do get there's one individual who writes a very, very long message on my work anniversaries. But the thing is, that long message, and it's quite tailored to me. It uses my name in it and so on. But it's the same message that he's been sending me for the past, I think I've had 4 work anniversary congratulations from this individual, saying exactly the same thing. And that's the only correspondence we have in between. But at least, he's doing it.
I know, but for what purpose? I mean, I'm saying bless him, and I feel sorry for him, but at the same time, it's lazy if you're being brutal about it.
It is lazy.
If he really wants to connect with you, send a much more personalised message. I think he's being lazy.
In my career, I'm sure I have thought through, I've been in this job for 3 years, or I've been in this job for 7 years, and so on. But the ones I remember are dates that I've either started or ended a job rather than the anniversaries in between.
Yeah.
And do you remember in lockdown, I still chuckle about it. In lockdown, I started a new job, and I actually started on April Fool's Day,
I do remember that.
7 days after lockdown started. So the 1st of April 2020, I started a new job. And if it wasn't so serious, it would have been a joke, because everything locked down, and it was
and we were clueless. At that time, no one had a clue what was going on.
Yeah, and it was a very difficult role to start doing when nobody's there, basically, and you're dealing with people over a screen.
Yeah.
So I remember that one, that sort of anniversary, that start date, and I also remember a date when I resigned from a job. And some of my friends who might listen to this will know this as well. It was on the 1st of January. It was on New Year's Day on a particular year that I resigned from a job, because I basically threw the toys out of the pram, because they'd made the run up to Christmas and my Christmas so miserable that in a fit of just being totally fed up, I just handed in my notice on New Year's Day.
But we've talked about this in Big Decisions podcast as well, haven't we? That, New Year's Day, again, it's almost like an anniversary of new beginnings, isn't it? A new year, fresh start, new year, new me, all that stuff. And it does, I made the decision that I knew my marriage was over on New Year's Eve of a particular year. It's a trigger.
Yes.
And we can either use it see it as an anxiety trigger, or actually see it as an opportunity. So when you talk about how long you were in jobs for, I did a lot of consultancy, as you know. After I was a lawyer, then I had my own business with my ex-husband, and then I went into my own consultancy. And if I'd been consulting somewhere, which often did happen, as soon as it hit 2 to 3 years, I was like, well, I mustn't be doing my job properly if they still need me.
Yes.
And actually people are like, oh, you've left your job. No. That's what a consultant does. You consult and improve their business in whatever form and move on. And yet it was very difficult to move on. But then when I see people saying, oh, I've been in business for X amount of years, I then go, oh, that should have been, could have been, would have been me. But actually I go, no, Michelle, just take a beat, have a minute, think about it. You worked for all different businesses for short amounts of time over a longer period of time. Check in on yourself. You achieved, and it gave a focus. For me, I would get wobbly after 3 years about, and go, it's time for me to move on.
You haven't, but you've been in business for 30 years or however long it is. It's just that you haven't worked for the same company.
Yes.
So, working for the same company for decades seems to be something that people say, yeah, well done.
But actually, sometimes I go, oh, that's a bit sad. And I hate to say that, but I go, oh, maybe I it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You go, oh, I wish I'd done that. I wonder if I'd have stayed in the law. I'd be an equity partner by now, and I'd be this, and I'd be that. And then I go, oh, God, but I wouldn't have the stories
and you'd have lots of grey hair, too.
And I haven't got any grey hair, by the way, like none, but that's another... Beauty and ageing should be a topic. But anyway, but yeah, I think I've got many more stories to tell because of the variety that I've had. But again, I've had to check in on myself and not compare with a big number when it comes to anniversary dates.
I remember the first time, this was quite a while ago, somebody saying to me, when somebody was saying, I've got 20 years experience in da-da-da-da. And he turned to me, this other individual turned to me and said, he doesn't have 20 years experience. He's got 1 year's experience 20 times.
It's true. That's actually, interesting. And experience in a very niche area. And again, we need those people. We need those experts. But actually, you can be a master of many things as well. And again, I've grappled with that. I feel when again leaving the law was a big deal for me because I left behind many, many years of hard work and dedication and knowledge. But actually, I've learned over the years that hard work and dedication and knowledge has served me well in my varied career working with businesses. and in my own personal life as well, when I've had to pivot many times and make changes. And talking about anxiety, they say make yourself uncomfortable to help build the mental muscle and build resilience. So for me, I suppose maybe that's why, and again, it's why I do the podcast. People go, well, why are you doing a podcast? Actually, is to continue to build that mental muscle because it terrifies me.
Yes, it's what we were saying earlier. And running away from it doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Facing it
Yeah.
builds resilience and makes you stronger.
Yeah. And it helps you deal, coming back to anxiety, it helps you face it. And they say face your fears, don't they? So if you're frightened of something, tune into that. It can be a good thing. So they say reframe it, don't they? So being nervous is also being excited, because your heart goes, you have to take a deep breath. You go, I've got this, I can do this. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as I'm progressing with my growth and I've challenged myself, then the next thing that, when then you challenge yourself and ourselves with a bit more tech. Okay, we're still not up there with a slick produced podcast, but we're doing it ourselves, aren't we?
We got some great microphones.
Well, yeah, and they look posh, don't they?
Yeah.
But I still go, we still got to edit and deal with new software and challenge ourselves with that.
And that's why I think, going back to the work and the idea of the job for life being not so relevant anymore, and fewer people stay with the same company for 10, 20, 30 years, I think that's actually quite good, because it means that you are getting all of those different experiences. So I actually think that that whether it's LinkedIn or any other forms of social media, the instances in the future where we get people saying, yeah, I've got a work anniversary, I've been working with this company for 20 years or 30 years, I think they're going to become fewer and fewer.
Yes.
And I don't think that's necessarily, I mean, my father would have said, you're working for a good company and it's a job for life, and do you have a pension? And that's great. But I think going forwards, I think for a lot of people, it'll be a good thing.
Yeah,
to
variety
have
is
that
a good thing.
Range of experiences.
Yeah, and scaring yourself is a good thing, as I often say. I said it to Hannah on the last podcast, didn't I? You've got to scare yourself to grow.
So rounding up,
Yeah.
we've talked about anniversaries, celebrating anniversaries, those anniversaries that give us anxiety. So what sort of tips can we give to sum all of that
Oh,
up?
God, I've got anxiety thinking about it. Oh, I hate it when you put me on the spot. Okay, because I try to be succinct and I can't be. So that's me. My tip for me is to learn to be a lot more succinct, but I'll give it a go.
Go on, try.
Okay, so it's just a number, but celebrate it, okay? If you want to celebrate a number, an achievement, then do it, because there's so much negativity around right now that if there's an opportunity to seek applause, don't dim your light, share it, and the right people will applaud you. But don't hang your hat on it. Don't expect it. Don't feel like, don't be looking at who's liked it, who hasn't. Don't analyze it. Just put it out there, and the right people will see it and applaud you. So that's number one. But it doesn't matter what the number is, I think. So on that point, to celebrate the small wins. So it doesn't have to be a big number. Celebrate the little numbers as well.
And you might not have to wait for a whole year or a whole 5 years. You can be celebrating in between as well.
Yeah, we could say, right, I've done 90 minutes of focused work. I got up today, put my shoes by the door, and actually did go to the gym. I actually did take that walk. We've talked about this many a time in podcasts. Celebrate the small stuff. Applaud yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Don't always look from other people and validation from others. So on the not comparing point, I think again on the small wins point is to see an anniversary as an opportunity to reflect on the positive stuff and how much you've grown and what you've learned. So again, we don't often do that. We don't often pause, which we try to do, don't we? We've got like a little book and we go...
We try to do that at least every 3 months, don't we?
We try and do it,
in terms of reflection on what we've achieved, successes and so on,
Yeah, and you, everybody will have those, and it's a really good exercise for your brain to remind yourself what you've actually done. instead of thinking about what you haven't done. Okay. But if there is something you haven't done and you still want to do it and it's eating away at you, you know what? Feel that fear and just go, what am I going to do to action this? Tune into your gut. So I do think anniversaries are an opportunity for that important reflection and then action, because action creates momentum. So it takes some action, take that small step towards whatever it is you're frightened of doing, but you really want to do. That's a good one.
And then the anxiety subsides because you've been
does.
worrying about it.
It does.
You've got it done. And then it subsides.
Yeah, because anxiety is normal. Again, not talking about clinical anxiety where you need professional help, but anxiety is normal. It makes you feel alive.
They say that everybody needs a constant low-level amount of anxiety.
Yeah.
Because it sits within that emotional spectrum, doesn't it?
And don't they say something, anxiety comes because it means something to you? So again, reframe it. Don't think, using the word anxiety. And I remember this when I very first got diagnosed, which is, I don't really like that phrase, but I saw the word anxiety on a medical note and it gave me anxiety, actually.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not telling everyone. I started to cry because I was like, I can't tell people I've got anxiety anyway. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But it's the power of words and the power of the reframe. So know that anxiety is normal. It can also equate to excitement. It can equate to, wanting to do something. This means something to me, which is why it's important to me. So that's why I feel anxious about it. I want to do it well.
Yes.
I want to do it right.
You've attached importance to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But instead of letting it overwhelm you, try and just break it down bit by bit and just take some action, because as soon as you take action, it does actually relieve the anxiety. But I think the upshot of it is to reframe the negative connotations with the word anxious. But when it comes to difficult anniversaries, as in people passing away, for example, I think, again, coming back to what we always talk about, which isn't always easy, is to be vulnerable and talk.
Yeah.
Find somebody to talk to. Use it as an opportunity to get closer to your loved ones. Use it as an opportunity to open up about how you're feeling.
And to talk them alive.
And talk them alive, yeah. And talk about how you're feeling.
Yeah.
I think how you're feeling is really key. Go, I really miss them, or I miss this about them, or that about them, or I wish they were here because, and that's okay.
So the thing about these sad anniversaries is trying to remember the individuals and not the event, the potentially traumatic event itself. So not to focus on the event, but to remember the individuals and remember what they brought in their life, and the happiness and all the memories of the individuals, and not the event.
But I mean, as time goes on, I think that's more likely. But when it's very raw, it's impossible. If there has been tragedy around a particular passing, then that makes it all the more difficult and all the more need for professional help, which we will always advocate. And we're always going to qualify everything we say by just saying this is our own experience. But from my own experience, when something's been traumatic, is the absolute key, and it's not always easy, is to, like you've just said, hone in on the person and the light that they brought, and share their life lived and talk about it.
And talk them alive.
Talk them alive, and remember them in the way that brought you love and light, I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. But we keep mentioning the word reframe, and it's the only way to reframe is to pause, acknowledge the feelings that you're feeling, the potential spiral feeling that I know that I often have felt during these times. And you think, I'm going to spiral, it's going out of control. There's so many tools that you can look up now in terms of going for a walk, breathing, opening up, sharing, making a phone call, be vulnerable and look for support and talk them alive in a positive way. And the more you do that, again, it's mental muscle, the more your brain will go to that place rather than the place that's going to send you down that spiral.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
So,
That's a good web. summing it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of we don't want to end on this note, do we? We want to end on a positive.
Well, yes, anniversary is about celebrating, whether
Yeah.
it's celebrating lives, celebrating work, milestones.
Milestones.
So yeah, we've always got to try to turn things so that we can have a positive outlook on the future.
It's not always easy, but it's
No,
something that we all need to be
try.
conscious of. That it's difficult.
Yeah.
That it doesn't come naturally. But what we all need to do is acknowledge that it doesn't come naturally, and that we need to pause.
Yes.
And feel it, embrace it, identify it, share it, and then do our best to whatever it is we need to do to make ourselves feel better about it.
Yes.
And it is all about power of conversation, opening up, being vulnerable, sharing how you feel, and speaking to yourself with kindness.
So it's really talking on so that you can walk on in life.
Absolutely. That's what all these podcasts are about.
Yeah.
That is, we go round and round in circles and we discuss all these things, but the one common theme with all our podcasts is about opening up, talking, being vulnerable, sharing your experiences. And the more we do that with each other, the more there's a ripple effect of positivity and acknowledgement that life is tough, but if we're there for each other, then we can walk on towards a better life and in a much more confident and happy way.
The power of conversation.
Yes. So while we're on this topic, I just wanted to say thank you to you.
Oh, thank you.
Because you've seen me in many a spiral moment and many anxious moments. It is something that I brought into the marriage. It's something that I had before, so I haven't got anxiety since I married you. But in the honour of being vulnerable, I just want to say that you've held me up and been there for me in many a spiral moment.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Well, all I can say is that's what marriage is about, isn't it? It's about...
That's what it should be about, yes.
It's about supporting each other through thick and thin, through sickness and in health and everything else.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that. But an important part of that as well is that you've brought that out of me as well, in terms of the emotional side.
Yeah.
And being there and listening. I think I'm a far better listener now than I ever was. And understanding what other people could have been through, some of the things that you've been through in your life, I haven't experienced at all.
And likewise, vice versa.
Yes, yeah. So, and that's, the support is mutual, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mwah.